Well, hello everybody. I think we're live, so we are just going to keep rolling here. Welcome to the fourth part of this series on Essence that we are recording. I am just going to check my Facebook feed to make sure that I'm up and running because last time I didn't get the comments when they were live. So looks like we're good. I'm going to be checking that as we go along. And yeah, whether you're catching this live or you're catching this on the replay, great to have you here. I always appreciate when people are willing to spend the time and energy uh, and commitment to being here. It's a great discussion that's being had, and yeah, I just really appreciate you being here. So tonight we are going to talk about living in an integrated life from this place of essence. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been sharing this series about what is essence, and how can we be more connected to the essence of our lives, of who we are. And it's a four-part series. There's been three videos that have been recorded, so I'll make sure to link to the other videos to get you caught up if you haven't had a chance to watch these. Um, and tonight's going to be a good one. We're going to kind of do a little bit of a recap, and then we're going to talk about integration. How do we bring essence, to all of our lives and not just, a few areas? So let me know if you have any questions or topics that you'd like to explore around this, or if you got something random that you want to share, please feel free to bring it. Um, what do I want to share before we get started? So, as we've reached the end of this series, what I want to put out to you is that if you've been intrigued by this idea of essence, and this stuff kind of lights you up, what I'm going to do is open up some opportunities for people to come into conversation with me privately, one on one, where we explore the essence of who you are. Uh, this is a committed conversation. I will put it that way. Generally, this conversation can take anywhere between about 2 hours. Sometimes it goes a bit longer, and we're going to be diving into the essence of who you are. We're going to be exploring, some of the automatic ways of being that you show up in life, your relationship to possibility, and essence, and what can be created from essence in your life. So if that's something that you're interested in, please feel free to reach out via the comments or message me. And if we feel like it's a good fit and a good time to have that conversation, let's do it. It's a lot of fun. So and just know that opportunity is there. So, and I'm just going to refresh my page one more time just to make sure things are rolling, because last time I didn't catch those comments that were live, and I want to make sure that if people are watching, that they actually get a response. Um, okay. And if you are here live, please feel free to put your name in the comments. Let us know where you're watching this from, and yeah, anything else you want to share. So let's talk about integration. Well, actually, let's start with talking about essence. So, just doing a brief recap on what essence is. So, I want you to picture essence as, really the qualities of being within you. And I'm fortunate because I actually listened to a presentation today from a coach who I very much respect named Adam Quiney, and he did a deep dive on essence in one of the private groups that I'm in. So I feel pretty refreshed. I feel like I got like this enhanced knowledge of this today. So essence, qualities of being, the qualities of being of who you are. And really, as I've mentioned on a few of these videos, the place really get connected to is that your essence is really like the innate qualities that are within you, the qualities that have been with you since you were a child, since you were a baby, since you were born. And a statement that I heard in Adam's training on this was that really it's pointing to the light of who you are, the qualities of being that really shine within you that you bring into the world. So think about that. Get connected to that. Feel into, hey, what are some of the qualities that you feel within yourself? What are some of those areas that you naturally feel like you have strengths in? And what are some of the qualities that others point out to you? You know, when you're at your job, when you're with your family, when you meet people on the street, what qualities do people notice within you? Pay attention to that. And another place to look in terms of essence is, well, what qualities do you see in others? When you are out in public, you know, and you see the cashier at at the grocery store cashier, the clerk at the grocery store, you know, bagging your groceries, what qualities do you sense within them? When you um, go to Whole Foods and order lunch, you know, I guess I'm apparently in grocery stores a lot. You know, what qualities do you sense within that individual? Your real estate agent, your banker, your lawyer, these are all places to look and get really attuned to the qualities that you see within those individuals. So let me know, you know, what sort of comes up with for you. What questions do you have? So from here, um, I want to share an element that, you know, this concept that's come up for me in conversation a couple days ago. So an individual that I was in conversation with had mentioned, you know, one of the qualities for me that's been pointed out is that I am connection, and you know, was resistant to that. You know, well, what do you mean I'm connection? I feel like I'm an introvert. I don't feel like connection is who I am. Well, one of the things to just sit with in that is that we can be all things. We can be all qualities of being in our lives. There are some like the elements of those qualities. You could probably look within and see that like there is something there for you. Whether you're a visionary, you have confidence, you have wit, you have passion, you have calmness. Like we all can have these qualities of essence of being. And so going back to this example, so one of the really interesting things in talking about connection was that this individual was speaking to, well, when I go into conversation with people, you know, how can I foster connection? What are the places to look? And yeah, when we're first sort of getting attuned with our essence and the awareness of it out in the world, absolutely we want to be practicing, well, how could I create more connection? You know, how could I express when I feel disconnected to people? So almost bringing our essence on a conscious level of really like practicing those or being with more and more of those qualities that we have. But inevitably, the place that we want to get to with our essence is that it just becomes a part of who we are. That whether we go to the grocery store, we go out to, you know, for a walk in the park, we go to work, that like the qualities within us are naturally coming out and sort of like radiating out into the world. That's a really interesting place to come from, is that if who you are is connection, what if you don't have to do anything? What if you just get to be you, and naturally like that draws people in? People sense that about you, like, oh, this person feels different. They feel like I want to be in their presence. I want to be in connection with them. They're curious about me. Like this is unique. So that's one of the places to look when it comes to essence, is that it's not so much the act of the doing, but really being connected to the being within. So let me know if you have any questions on that piece as we continue on. And again, for those that are watching this right now, please feel free to put some comments in, or you know, questions that you have around this. So I'm going to share with you examples from my own life of, I'm going to share with you my process of getting connected to essence, and then I'm going to share some examples from clients that I've worked with, um, and to kind of give you some insight into this. So I would say before I got into coaching, um, before I started going on this deep dive of this work, I would say that I was very much always acknowledged for um, like calmness, I guess, um, responsibility. Like that was one thing that I was very like that was often what I was shared with me, was that I was a responsible individual, a kind individual, a nice individual. Those were things that were often shared with me, like, oh, um, it was interesting, like when I worked in corrections, where people were like, you're such a nice guy, you're so kind, like how could you work there? And it's like, yeah, for sure, that's a part of who I am, but also I have a capability of responding, from a tactical perspective, or from more of an aggressive standpoint, if I had to, right? But those were sort of the things that I got acknowledged for. And it was interesting, right? Because being acknowledged for being a responsible individual, well, like, yes, that felt good, and like, yeah, it was meaningful, but there was also a part of me that kind of like secretly rejected responsibility. Like, I don't want to always be seen as like a responsible, straight edged individual. I want it to be seen as like adventurous and, daring in some way. So that was sort of an interesting thing to be with. And of course, you know being nice or being seen as kind, like, in some ways it felt good, but in other ways it was like, oh, does that mean like I'm a pushover, or I don't really stand up for myself? Like, I don't really speak to what I want. And then of course, as I got into reading like No More Mr. Nice Guy, I was like, oh my God, like, what is this? Like, what is this quality? So oftentimes the places that we can be acknowledged for, there's such great energy to it, and there's also a shadow side. There's also like a real, like, um can't quite think of the word, but like a real pull in the opposite direction. We'll say that. There's I don't have to go and find the words. Really, it is about that shadow side. So I'm sort of digressing a bit, but like that was very much how I was seen out in the world. And so you can imagine, like, responsible, kind, those were sort of the things that were present for me. And in all of that, there was, I would say, a lack of confidence. There was very much a lot of things that I loved about myself and cherished about myself, but like there were I would say I didn't really know who I was, and I was careful about expressing myself out into the world. And as I started to get into coaching work, that sort of makeup of who I was started to break down. It started to um, really open up, like, who I truly am as an individual. And that was not something that happened overnight. When I think about it now, I've probably been in 60 coaching sessions, if not more. I've been in group coaching programs for quite a while now, and it's almost like every single one of those experiences was allowing me to open up more and more, was allowing me to be seen for who I am, allowing me to be connected to the greatness of who I am. And um, that's been really powerful. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to happen through coaching, but in deep transformational conversations, where somebody can hold that space for you, this is where I really see this opening up. You're seeing this in men's groups and women's groups, and therapy and counseling and many other mediums. And so that is something that I really want you to hear, is like that opening up often comes through conversation. Yes, books, audiobooks, courses, those as well, but those are sort of, they can be a solo act in a sense, right? Whereas like when we're in conversation with somebody, there is a relationship that is being formed there. There is connection that is being formed there, and a real, like, seeing of each other, seeing each other in our strengths and in our vulnerabilities. And so where that sort of led me to now is that, I feel this real deepening and this connection to essence. I've had my essence distinguished for over a year now. And so the practice has been really honing and fostering the essence of who I am. And so, and the beauty of it is, like, I found that it doesn't matter which path I go from here, like whether it's listening to even an audiobook. Like, one of the audiobooks that has really resonated with me has been Inner Engineering by Sadhguru, and Karma, those two. And I found that once I was connected to essence, that those resources, almost any resource now that has a transformational element to it, it's helping me deepen my connection to essence. So one of the things that I've really loved about Sadhguru's work is that he really speaks to connecting to the environment, connecting to nature, connecting to the world, and coming from a place of love. And that's really been really interesting that, like, when I'm out on a walk or when I'm out in a park, can I be connected to the aliveness and the greenery and the trees, the sunlight, the clouds, and really like the vibrancy of the world. And that's been really, really powerful, coming from my essence to be connected to the essence of the world. And another place has been being connected to the essence of others. And yeah, I talked about earlier in this video of, like, sometimes there's sort of an intentional push towards connection, and sometimes it's more of just like showing up as who I am and creating connection. And this has been really neat to be connected to the essence of others, right? For me to see, like, oh, what qualities do I see in this person? How can I engage this person in conversation? You know, a little bit more, that type of thing. So it's been really, really beautiful to be connected to that. And of course, another place this shows up with is with clients, right? This has probably been the most fascinating thing about coaching, is that it's a transformational experience for the person in front of me, but it also creates transformation within me, whether for whatever is being created in those moments. Whether it's me holding space for that individual or challenging them, or opening up new possibilities, that all requires much more of me than just being in an everyday conversation. So it's been a really neat place to sort of deepen this essence. um, so let me know what's coming up for you in this. What questions do you have? I'm going to take a pause here and just see if there's any comments. I don't. I'm paranoid about this now because of them not showing up last week. So no comments yet. So the next place I want to look at is sharing some of the experiences that clients have had as we've distinguished their essence, what sort of showed up for them. Because it's great for me to speak to it, but like, it's been amazing to see, what happens for the people that I've worked with as they get connected to their essence. And this is a path of deepening. This is a path of transformation. And what I find is that, people will get connected to their essence very quickly, and sometimes it'll sort of falter off if it, depending on the attention that they give it or the practices that they've built around it. But a couple places to look that I found really interesting. I've had one client who, as they deepened in this process of connecting to their essence and really bring it into the world, they went to a restaurant and noticed, like, oh, like, the connection that was happening within the restaurant, just being connected to the waitress or the bartender, or feeling into the environment around them, like the person at the table across from them, like, what qualities do they bring? It makes for a much more enlivening experience of life. um, Same thing, another client who, very similar, like, got very connected to their essence, and it's been such a game changer for them because it's really been a guiding element of their life. They sort of cue into, like, what are the strengths that I bring from essence, from my qualities, and they allow that to sort of be like the navigating system of their life. Or another client who, when I think of this individual, like, the the opening of the heart and the opening of who they are, the adventure that they are connected to in their life now from this place, it was truly, like, remarkable. Um, because again, when we talk about essence, those qualities have always been within them, but oftentimes, as we've gone through our childhood years, into our teenage years, into our early adult years, and maybe beyond even that, we often get disconnected to our essence. And so that's been a really, really beautiful place to see, is people coming back to, like, oh, I've this has been here all along. I've seen it in sort of small bits and pieces, but, like, being that I'm sort of the generator, the creator of my life, that like this stuff is becoming more familiar to me, and like it feels really powerful. So that's been really, really cool to see. And the last one I'll share is having qualities reflected. One of the clients was really taken aback by like what people shared when it came to their essence, their qualities of being. That like they they knew it, like they knew these things that were within them, but like having it reflected to them, it opened up a whole new pathway of confidence. I would also say a whole new area of grounding and patience and stillness within them, to be like, like this is truly who I am. And if I can trust this and be with this, like there doesn't need to be masks anymore. I can just be who I am and be connected to the world. So it's been really, really cool to see this happen for the people that I've been connected to. And I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate to be able to bring this work to others. And I'm not the only one. There are coaches out there that are doing this work around essence, but it's pretty powerful. So, um, as we start to wrap up this conversation around essence, please, feel free to share like what, if anything, has stuck out to you in these conversations over these 4 videos. Like, what insights do you take away? What essence do you see in yourself? I'd love to hear more of what you have and free to share. And then I would love to be able to support you, through chat, that type of thing, whatever that looks like, but to keep this conversation going. Um, and from there, again, I'm going to come back to this last place that I was speaking to, about like if you've enjoyed the series and you want to sort of get a better understanding of your own essence. I will put it to you that like I would be open to having an essence conversation with the people in my network who are willing to do this work. And it's not a small commitment. Yes, this conversation is generally a 2 to 3 hour conversation, and there's going to be some deep dives. There's going to be some reflection, some connection to possibility. There's going to be an exercise, and it's a lot of it's I'm not going to say it's a lot of work. It is work, but it is powerful work. And to be able to discover the elements of your essence through this process, this is really an opportunity for your own transformation. So if that's something that you're interested, reach out. Put a comment in the comments section here saying that you're interested in having that conversation, or send me a message, and we will find a time over the next couple weeks, to maybe in the next couple months, that we'll be able to have these conversations. I don't know what that's going to look like. Maybe nobody reaches out, maybe there's a lot of people who reach out, but just know that the opportunity is here, if we're a good fit for one another going through that process. So that's it. This is the end of the series on essence. It's been really fun to speak to this because it helps me increase my mastery of this concept. And I really love the conversation that happens here. And this is just the beginning. There's many, many more places that we're going to be diving into, and I'm really excited to bring you the next series that I'm going to be putting together. It's going to be a bit different, and stay tuned because it's going to be exciting. So thanks so much for watching this, and yeah, I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Bye for now.